So folks, I've just checked in here to the Hard Rock, and let's take a look inside. Now you see that sign which says lane closed. It's a Sunday afternoon, and right now the valet isn't open. I think that's a service that's only open on the weekend. But as you come in, this place looks exactly like you would expect a Hard Rock to look. You've got things dedicated to all of the great rock and roll icons, a shirt that Bon Jovi wore, a series of guitars. They're really doing a good job of carrying out this theme. Let's go upstairs and check out what's up there. They do have an elevator over there if you can't take the escalator, and obviously they've got the stairs. But going up, they've got a series of restaurants behind me. They've also got restaurants inside the casino. I talked to the casino security guard. If you're here with your kids, you can take the kids inside the casino as long as you're going directly to and from a restaurant. When I checked in earlier, there wasn't any line there at the hotel check-in, and it seems like they're doing a pretty good job of keeping that manageable, particularly as it's almost 3 in the afternoon, and it's right at the height of check-in time. So here in the open area of the hotel, where you don't have to go past security at all, they've got a Ben & Jerry's, and let's see what else they have. They've got a Dunkin' Donuts. So this is where all your snack stuff is, and then they've got a Pie 5 Pizza Company. I wonder if that's actually open right now. Let's go take a look. Oh. So yep, it is open. So they've got several snacks which are open outside the casino area. What I want to do now is walk back in the general direction of the casino. I'm actually going to cut the video off for just a second though, so I don't run into any YouTube music. So I waited just long enough to let the song play off, but they've got that really cool decor there. They do have a VIP concierge check-in where if you're an invited casino guest, you can get checked in more quickly with a little higher level of service. But again, I've been in this hotel a couple of times, and the standard check-in line has never had all that long of a wait. Now, being this is a Hard Rock hotel, of course they have a Hard Rock Cafe, and of course it is prominently featured right up there. They have 2 towers. That is the Platinum Tower, and I am in the other tower, which I will show you in just a minute. Now, you're perfectly standard Hard Rock Cafe. We can take a look at their menu real quick. And of course, because it is a casino and a Hard Rock Cafe, you have a full-service bar. Now, coming around here, you've got a real cool waiting area. And you've got a robot bar. The robot bar's not open right now, and I get it, it's kind of gimmicky, but I'd honestly really like to check it out. So, let's see if we can figure out what the situation is here. I will absolutely come back there when it is open later on, if it even opens. It's a Sunday afternoon, and it may just be a weekend thing. That is the Royal Tower, where my room is located. Back there is the casino, and that's where most of the restaurants of the hotel are located. I'll try to get some footage of that later on. What I want to do right now, though, is go downstairs and take a tour of the pool to see what it's like. So, folks, let's check out the pool area here at the Hard Rock in Biloxi. Now, it's a cool day in March, which means the pool's not going to be full, but you ought to be able to get a sense of what it's like from whenever you are here. Right as you come in, you've got an area with your pretty standard pool shop. You've got another area where you can sit, and I suspect there's more stuff there normally. You can rent a raft for $6, and I'm assuming you would do that in the pool shop. And they've got music playing, which means I'm going to try to keep this under a minute so that I don't get flagged by YouTube. But you've got a big, beautiful pool area with some cabanas that you can rent, and I also love the notion of a swim-up bar, and you can see the seats there at the bar. So the pool area is gorgeous. You can see the Beau Rivage there, and it's right on the beach. I'm going to go check out some... Folks, I'm back inside now, and I'm just past casino security, but I want to show you what it's like in here, because this is where a lot of the amenities of the hotel are. There is, of course, a gift shop, and I find it a little bit odd that it's a step past casino security, but they'll allow children back here if they're doing something non-gaming. The most prominent restaurant here is the Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, which is a super high-end steakhouse. I would argue, though, that the Half-Shell Oyster House may actually be slightly better food. It's not open right now, but let's take a look inside just so you can see what it looks like, and it looks like every other Ruth's Chris in the world. They do ask that you have on slightly nicer clothes. See if their menu is running right now. All right, so if you want to, you can scan there to get to the menu. But again, it's a standard high-end steakhouse. Now, one of the things that a lot of the casinos here in Biloxi have is some sort of an Asian-themed dining. And here, they've got something called Macau Kitchen. And they don't have a menu posted, but let's take a look at what their hours are. And it's just a real small service area. And they're not open all the time. The only time they're open for lunch is on the weekend, and they're not open on Mondays and Tuesdays at all. So coming back in towards the casino, one of the only things I've noticed that I don't like about this place is that the line to get a Players Club card printed was super high or super long, but that may have just been a function of right now. Now I'm not going to go in all the way to the casino with my camera, but you've got a standard casino bar back there. You also in Mississippi have sports gambling, and the Half Shell Oyster House is actually one of my favorite steakhouses in the area. I'll try to go into it later on for dinner to tell you what it's like. So yeah, and you have the Sugar Shack back there. So it's a high energy casino and hotel. It's got all the standard amenities you'd expect of a nicer property in Vegas. And what I'm gonna do right now is go to my spa appointment, and I'm obviously not gonna take video there, but I will come back later on and talk to you about what that. Hey folks, I'm back up in my room. I just checked out of the spa, and obviously I wasn't going to shoot video down in the spa, but I wanted to talk a little bit about what that experience was like, because the Hard Rock here in Biloxi is trying very hard to be a full-service hotel. And the spa is nice. It's not huge, but it's well appointed. Like, they've got most of the standard stuff that you would expect to have in a spa. Like, you can't shave in there or anything like that, but they've got the mouthwashes and the rinses and the lotions and all of that sort of thing. They've got some incredibly well appointed showers. I actually like the shower down in the spa much better than the one here in my room because it was easier to work. The hot tub worked well. The sauna and the steam room both worked well. The treatment itself was great. One of the things that you've got to know if you're going to go down to the spa is that they've got co-ed and non-co-ed areas, and the signs are a little bit confusing. I read the signs as saying I was in a co-ed area, and I'm like, well, that's about to get awkward. No, there is a separate co-ed area. You've got to walk through those doors to get to it. And they have a cold plunge pool and the largest hot tub there. So if you're here with a significant other, then, you've got a space where you can be together while you're waiting for your treatments. But then, the sex segregated rooms are pretty normal standard spa treatment rooms, and I enjoyed the fact that there was plenty of heat in the dry sauna and plenty of heat in the steam room. So far I'm having a great experience here. I've checked out the casino a little bit, but not much. I've toured through the hotel. I've been down through the pool. I've been to the spa, but it's now getting towards dinner time. I think it's about 5:30, 5:45 now. I may have skipped lunch on my drive down here. So what I'm about to do is go down to the casino floor. I'm betting somebody's going to be willing to sell me a cocktail. After I get that cocktail, I'm going to go to the Half Shell Oyster House, unless Ruth's Chris is open tonight. It's a Sunday night. I don't think they're open tonight, but I've been to the Half Shell Oyster House before, so I'm going to go try it. On this channel, we never make you watch us eat, but I will take some video from the restaurant so you know what the food's like, you know what it looks like, you know what the good cocktails are, you know what to expect. And I'll also come to you a little bit when I can find a quiet corner of the casino floor to talk to you about what the gambling rules are like. But so far, I'm enjoying the Hard Rock. There's just one last thing to note, and that's very much the vibe and the ambiance that they're going for at this hotel. They're absolutely going for high energy, and if that's what you want, then great. And if you're roughly my age, you will know all of the rock and roll songs that they have here. However, if you're looking for a quiet, relaxing weekend, the spa here works, but the rest of the hotel, you may be looking for a different ambiance. And that's not a knock on the hotel at all, right? That's just absolutely making sure you know what you're going for. So give me a few minutes and I will check back with you when I'm downstairs enjoying a cocktail and enjoying my dinner. Hey folks, so I wound up at the Half Shell Oyster House for dinner. It turns out Ruth's Chris was open, but I've been here to the Half Shell Oyster House before and I just happen to really like it. So what I'm going to do in just a minute is I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you video footage of the menu so you know what their prices are, because the prices are actually pretty good. Take you on a quick walk around to the restaurant, and then I'll show you some pictures of the food that I eat. After this, I'm going to go gamble for a little while. I'm going to try to end my evening with a cocktail over at Ruth's Chris, where I talk about the experience of gambling on the casino floor. So thanks for sticking with me. So far, this has been a great 24-hour trip to the Hard Rock, and I'll be right back. So relative to a lot of other steak and seafood restaurants, the prices here are pretty darn reasonable. Now, I should get seafood because we are immediately on the Gulf Coast, but I've already had that, and I haven't had a steak in a while, so I feel like I may try that. But as you can tell, the price is pretty good. The full-size ribeye is just $40, which is way cheaper than similarly equipped places in Vegas. And My old fashioned has just got here. I'm going to try that in just a second. But the old fashioned was, I can't remember what it was. I want to say it was about 13 bucks. Let's look at the drink menu. Yeah, no, the old fashioned is $11. So the prices here relative to a trip to Vegas are absolutely phenomenal. See the sides. Now, at this particular half shell, they have some specials. And what I'm tempted to do is get the lobster and Argentine red cakes because, I don't know, they make a big deal out of making lobster. So let's give that a shot and see what it's like. But they've also got a lot of specialty drinks here, like they've got rum old fashions. They're also the only half shell in the country which has a sushi menu. Let me see if this has a backside to it. It does. And this is one of the things we try to do on this channel is show you video footage of the menu so you know exactly what your choices are as well as what stuff costs. Let me go real quick back to the drink menu so you can get an idea what the wine options are. Now, I made this comment earlier. The vibe here is very much a high energy sort of vibe. I like that. Just make sure that that's the vibe that you're going for with your vacation. So, as I go to it, I was here with my sister once. She had the top shelf margarita. It wound up being really good. All of the various martinis are good, but one of the drinks I would absolutely encourage you to try is the Southern Pecan Old Fashioned. So let me start my drink and I will come back in just a minute and show you a quick walkthrough of the restaurant. So folks, just a quick tour of the restaurant real quick. I'm looking back towards the entrance, and that's a fake fireplace above the bar, but it's a really cool one, and as you can tell, it's an incredibly well-stocked bar. Let's actually take a look real quick to see what kind of liquors they have. So you don't have any of the super premium stuff, but like you've got the Maker's Mark Private Label Select up there, you've got some really good things. It's a Sunday night, and I didn't have any trouble getting a table at all, right? Like you can see how quick and easy, or how open it is, rather. They've got an incredibly good selection of things. And I am going to go to Ruth's Chris later on if they'll seat me at the bar for just a drink. But this place is fantastic. I wound up ordering the ribeye. The previous time I was here, I got some redfish, which is fantastic. I'll let you know how the ribeye was, but I already know that the seafood is good. But the ambiance of this place is very much like a New Orleans style fish and steakhouse. So I'm not going to go in there because I don't want to disturb those diners. But yeah, this is what the restaurant looks like. I'm going to go finish enjoying my drink, and I will come back in just a minute and talk to you about how the food is. So folks, the shrimp and lobster cakes are here, and these look and smell fantastic. Obviously, I can't transmit the smell to you through the camera, but let's squeeze a little bit of lemon onto them. I'm going to enjoy my appetizer now, and after I enjoy that and the steak, I will come back and tell you how all of this tasted. So y'all, I know I said that I would come back after I had the steak, but I don't want to wait that long. This shrimp and lobster cake that I'm having is the most fantastic crab cake type thing I think I've ever had. Now, the jalapeno remoulade is obviously very good, but there's giant chunks of meat in here. So it's not some super cheap processed thing. Like this meal is fantastic. I got a second drink. This time I just got a classic martini with blue cheese olives. He asked me about vodkas, and I appreciate that. And that is also fantastic. And yes, I realize a martini should be made with gin, but I felt like vodka tonight. So y'all, this meal is off to a phenomenal start. And I will come back in a little while and tell you about the steak, where for sides, they have a lot of the traditional sides, but I was able to get some turnip greens and pork stock, as well as some cheddar grits. I'll be right back. So y'all, the good news is that my food is here and it looks and smells fantastic. You can't see the sauce on the ribeye, but it smells absolutely amazing. The challenge is that it is 56 minutes since I took my first video here, and it just now arrived. So I've been in the restaurant about an hour. So service has been super, super slow. The food has been great. The service has been friendly. The two drinks I've had have been great. But things have been going awfully slow. So let's see how this tastes, and I will come back after the meal and let you know how it was. Hey folks, so let's talk real quick about the meal I had here. Like I told you, both of my drinks were fantastic, and the appetizer I had was very, very good. The problem was that it was 56 minutes from the first video I recorded till the time I got my entrees, which means I had been here about an hour before the entree showed up. There was a super long lag. The steak was seasoned incredibly well, and it was a good cut of steak. But the problem with it was that I had asked for it medium, and it was done just about well. It was at least 1.5 degrees past what I'd asked for. Now he did offer to replace it. He absolutely did the right thing there. But the problem with that was I'd already waited an hour, and I didn't have more time for that. The collard greens were a little under seasoned. There really wasn't a lot of pork on those. Now, the cheese grits were phenomenal. Those were good. And again, I don't want to make the steak sound worse than it was because the seasoning on it was great and it was a great cut of meat. But it was overall right, like with the service and the slowness, it was a little bit of a disappointing experience. So I'll give you a few more thoughts once I leave the restaurant. Hey, so coming back again, a manager just stopped by, and she was actually here when I was recording this last bit. They took the whole ribeye as well as the side orders off, which I think is a phenomenal service recovery. And it's not something I asked for because I ate it, right? It wouldn't be fair for me to send it back and refuse to pay for it. So I still would prefer to have had, the thing that I ordered and to have had it in a reasonable time. But they did an excellent job of service recovery. I am super proud of that. I'm super happy with that. And I will still come back to you right after I leave the restaurant. Hey folks, so I just finished my dinner at the Hard Rock, and I had told you after that I was going to gamble and then probably get a drink at Ruth's Chris, and I've decided to do something different. I'm going to go next door to the Beau Rivage and check it out. There's also several bars within about a block walk of here, and I'm going to go check those out. So the meal was a little bit disappointing. It wasn't terrible, like the seasoning was great, the servers were all trying as hard as they possibly could. It wasn't quite what I was looking for, right? Like they overcooked the steak and it took too long. Overall, though, it's absolutely a place I would go back. It would just kind of depend on what sort of a vibe I was going for the weekend. If I was there with a lot of buddies, then yeah, it'd be a lot of fun, right, to go do sports gambling and such there. So far, though, I think they're looking for a younger crowd than I am, and that doesn't make it bad at all, right? That may very well be you. I'm not sure it's quite my crowd. So I'm going to walk next door to the Beau Rivage. Now, this isn't going to be the last time you hear from me about this hotel. I've got 2 more videos to finish here tomorrow, one about the room and one about the overall experience, and I kind of want to think about it overnight. But my initial impressions are that the property is super nice. Everybody's kind. Everybody's trying really hard. It's just, I don't know. It's probably not quite what they were hoping it would be. So I will come back tomorrow morning and tell you what I thought. I'll also tell you where I wind up bar hopping tonight. Hey folks, so as promised, after dinner, I'm here in Ruth's Chris Steakhouse and I'm enjoying a Vesper cocktail. If you don't know what a Vesper is, it's about 2/3 gin and about 1/3 vodka, and the bartender here was phenomenal and made an exceptionally stiff pour, and my drink tastes fantastic. So let's go back and talk about that dinner again for just a second because I don't want to overstate it. It wasn't terrible, right? Like the steak was seasoned fantastically. That appetizer was legitimately amazing. It's just that it took too long and the steak was pretty badly overcooked. But they made a legitimately great service recovery attempt at it, and it was the second time I had eaten there. So, yeah, there will be a third time because that first time was perfect, and that second time, there were some mistakes, but they did everything they could to recover from it. One of the other things that helps is that, and so you'd heard me talk about earlier in this video, that this is a very high energy hotel. The Ruth's Chris Steakhouse is a little bit more of a relaxed place where I can sit and have an upscale cocktail and where they know exactly what they're doing with it. In terms of the gambling before dinner, um, there weren't any tables available. That's not actually true. There was one table available in the high limit room. There are 2 tables available in the high limit room, but they were both at $100 a hand, and that's way more than I care to gamble. After dinner, there was a $15 table and a $25 table, both of which were playing 3-2 on blackjack. There's a number of quarter slots which don't even require all that high of a multiplier, so there's some pretty good gambling odds. So here's what I'm going to do, folks. I'm going to think about this overnight, and I'm going to come back in the morning before I check out and give you my final thoughts on this. In the meantime, one of the things that you ought to know about this hotel, the Hard Rock, as well as the Beau Rivage, which is next door, is that there are a number of other bars and local restaurants that are just a block or 2 up the road. And that's not like a block or 2 in Vegas where you've got to navigate through stuff. It's like 5 minutes that way. So I'm going to go enjoy some of those, and then I'm going to retire for the night, and I will come back to you in the morning. But I hope this has been helpful to you, and hang on, I'll come right back with some final thoughts. Folks, thanks so much for sticking with me on this trip to Biloxi. I have really enjoyed it. I'm up in my room to wrap this video up, but as a reminder, if you want to know what the actual room is like, I've got a separate video for it, and I'll provide a link to it in the comments section as well as right at the end of this video. In addition, we're going to go over later on today to the Beau Rivage, so if you want to know what that hotel is like, We'll have 2, 3 videos on it coming out pretty soon. One last thing, so in the reflection on my camera, and I don't know what it's going to show up like on your screen, but the window behind me is blue. In real life, it's dark gray. I don't know how that's going to show up in the final video, but that's because it's dark and stormy outside. Like, it's perfectly safe. There's not a hurricane blowing through or anything like that, but it's dark and stormy, and that's absolutely going to impact what you wind up doing at this hotel. A lot of the attraction to me of a trip to Biloxi is doing stuff like taking one of the boats out to one of the small islands, taking a paddle boat, going fishing, going to the pool, doing other things like that. And on a dark and stormy day like this, your options are going to be different. Now, they've still got a spa inside, right? They've still got the gambling. They've still got all the restaurants. They've still got any number of other things to do. It's just that your options change. So if you're planning a trip close in, it's worth looking at the weather, because remember, if you're in either Houston or in Atlanta, you're only a 6-hour drive from here. This is a completely reasonable drive for a lot of folks. So let's talk about some final observations from this hotel. One of those was I made a mistake. I thought there wasn't a sit-down breakfast spot, so I actually went across the street to get breakfast. Now, there's great choices. You can go to the Beau Rivage. There's a Waffle House across the street. You've got all sorts of choices for breakfast. But I thought that the only place to eat breakfast in the hotel was the Dunkin' Donuts for kind of a quick service thing. It turns out that the Sugar Factory has sit-down breakfast service, and in retrospect, had I known that, I would have done it. But like, even on their menu on the outside, they don't list what their breakfast items are. So judge for yourself, right? Is that where you want to eat breakfast? I do like all of the other restaurants here for lunch and dinner. For breakfast, and the general vibe seems to be more of a quick service sort of thing. The other thing that I've noticed about this hotel is that overall the vibe in the hotel and in the room are very, very different. And I'll talk about this a little bit more when I'm doing the video on the room itself, but the room, it's a nice room, but it's a little bit tired. Downstairs in the main part of the hotel, it's absolutely high energy. There is rock music all the time. There was actually rock music here in the room when I checked in, coming in through the TV. It's just that that's a constant thing down in the hotel. It's a very different feel. Ultimately, would I come back here? Yeah, of course I will. I'm actually pretty sure I will. You just have to be specific about what kind of weekend that you're trying to have. If you're here for a party with your friends, then that's great. If you're here with your family, you're on a romantic getaway. For most couples, probably not, unless that's you. If you're here to do sports gambling with your friends, it works just fine, although you can do that in most hotels. If you're going for more of a classy upscale sort of feel, then you're probably going to want to go to the Beau Rivage. I've also stayed at the Scarlet Pearl before, and the Scarlet Pearl has a lot of that feel. I know we said it before, folks, but what we try really hard to do at Dine Drink Vegas is bring you short and focused videos which bring you the information that you need to plan your next trip. Please support the channel so we can bring you more of these videos, and you can do that by clicking like and subscribe. You can do that by hitting the bell button so you get notifications of every new video that we do. Also, every comment that you leave in the comment section below helps YouTube show our videos to more people, and we love to hear from our listeners. We love to get back to you and answer your questions. You can also find us on the Dine Drink Vegas podcast, available wherever podcasts are, and you can find us on most social media channels at Dine Drink Travel. Thanks so much, and happy travels.